Hello, my lovelies. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Cassandra McAllen, and I'm the inventor and practitioner of thought pain therapy. And this is my Facebook group, Free the Wisdom to Heal the Body. For the month of December, I have decided for a little treat, and that is to do personal one-on-one coaching with anyone who has any questions about health or dis-ease in the body or the mind. um, Bring me your questions. They can be about yourself or anyone else. So let's see if we have any questions yet today, and I will answer them and give you my 2 decades of wisdom in helping people understand how their thoughts and the emotions that those bring affect how their body feels, and how in some cases it can be incredibly direct in ways that you might not even realize. So, oh, some wonderful questions here. Okay, Emily, I have been feeling very frenetic and hectic lately. I also have some left side neck pain. Any correlation? Why, yes. So, our neck is related to how we feel our choices are. So, it turns our head, right? So, how many different options do we feel we have? If you want to think of like a horse with blinders on, there's only one thing you can do, there's only one way to get it done. So, when we are manifesting neck pain, it has a tendency to do with feeling that our options are limited, that we don't have as many choices as we feel that we might need for differing circumstances in our life, personally, professionally. And it can also relate to issues that we are dealing with, or issues that don't relate to us so much as they relate to someone else. So the left side of the body generally relates to issues about our perceptions of self, and the right side of our body generally relates to issues of our shoulds with others. So you had said the left side. So left side neck pain would relate to feelings of being unable to either carry out what it is you want to do in the way you want to do it, or being unable to find other options. If it was a right side issue, then it might relate to somebody who's being a pain in your neck. And I would connect the hectic and frenetic feeling to the belief, subconscious, that you got to do it in a way that you don't want to do it. And you can't either A, figure out how to do it differently, or B, have the authority or be heard should you desire. So hopefully that answers that question. If not, drop another comment. Um, Palmy, how to stop the past from haunting you. So there's a wonderful quote that says, if we're depressed, we're in the past. If we're anxious, we're in the future. And if we're at peace, we're in the present. So for you, what I would recommend is to try to stop ruminating on the past, letting go of those things that perhaps you have found unforgivable, either in yourself or others, and refocusing on this present moment. In this moment, you are safe, and you are heard, and you are loved, probably more than you realize. So, when you are feeling overwhelmed by the past, try to focus and redirect your energy to the present moment. Some tools to do that can be mind-body connective tools like meditation, or simply body tools like exercise or taking a long bath, or things that make you feel more in your body and more in the present. Because we're in the present, we're at peace. Hopefully that helps a little. If not, give me another comment. Hi, Danielle. Good to see you. Thank you. Okay, Sandra, good to see you too. Oh, Minal, question about rheumatoid arthritis, physical, mental, and emotional causes. So, talking about autoimmune conditions is kind of a personal favorite of mine because in 2015 I was diagnosed with a RA style autoimmune called ankylosing spondylitis. And I was told while it would not kill me, it would leave me crippled and I would be in chronic pain for the rest of my life. And I was put on biologics, specifically Humira, and was told that no changes that I made personally would have anything to do with how I felt on a day to day basis or my ability to heal. So at the time, I was studying health psychology at University of California in Davis, and I decided that I didn't believe that. And so I did my own research and I found out a number of fascinating things. I'll share a few with you now that hopefully will be helpful, but as of 2019, I no longer have an autoimmune condition. My rheumatologist has fired me, and my chart says that I don't have an AI, but if you look in my history, it shows that I do. So that's always really confusing to the doctors. But so, yeah, let's talk about autoimmune because so many people have them. So, first thing to know is that it is predominantly affecting women. It is 78% more common in women, and it is the eighth leading cause of death. Um, so, you will probably either, if you're a woman that has an autoimmune condition or you know of people with them, you'll probably notice that the majority of people that you know are women. So, the most important things to know about autoimmune activation is that it takes three predispositions. So, first is a genetic predisposition to autoimmune condition. So, there is a gene or a human leukocyte antigen, an HLA gene that is connected to every single autoimmune condition. So, in the case of ankylosing spondylitis, it is HLA-B27. So, the first thing you have to have is a genetic predisposition to autoimmunity and a gene for it. Now, only 20 to 30% of people with these genes ever manifest an autoimmune condition. Yeah. So there are two other factors that have to also happen in order for the gene to become activated. Um, the second, other than the gene, is exposure to an environmental trigger. So there are particular triggers that are most heavily weighted for particular autoimmune conditions. Um, some might be obvious, like celiac disease is related to a gluten sensitivity. Less obvious, ankylosing spondylitis and RA are related to exposure to cigarette smoke. So I started smoking when I was 12 years old and didn't stop till I was 40. So that was a definite correlation that I was unaware of. But there are also a number of other environmental triggers. Um, there's toxins in the air we breathe and the food we eat. So if you're interested, you could probably just Google your particular autoimmune condition and what an environmental trigger is for that, and you might get some interesting responses. The third thing that has to happen at the same time is for you to have a leaky gut. So that is increased intestinal permeability. It's where toxins enter the bloodstream through actual microscopic holes in your gut, and those food particles trigger immune responses, and they can actually trigger an autoimmune result. So you can be genetically susceptible. You can be exposed to a host of environmental triggers, but in most cases, you would not develop an autoimmune condition unless you had a leaky gut. So that's great news because you can heal that. I've done a tremendous amount of research on it. There's a number of different diets. And yes, in addition to a number of other things, um, I healed my gut. And so that helped reverse a number of signs that I was having that were leaving me in chronic pain that was at one point debilitating. I was bedridden for almost 6 months, and I was on a host of opioids to manage pain to be able to get around when I wasn't in bed. So, the lastly, research has found that chronic mental stress and extreme emotional distress is also a trigger for autoimmune conditions. So, basically, you got the gene, you're exposed to environmental triggers, you have a leaky gut, and then something happens, or a host of things. Many people find that the onset of the majority of their health problems came during a really rough period in their lives. Maybe it was caring for an aging parent or child, or a divorce, or loss of a loved one. Maybe it was loss of a job or loss of a home. So those are the correlations to autoimmune. Um, I have a particular soft spot in my heart for autoimmune conditions, and especially women that suffer with them. In fact, I wrote a 9-page paper on autoimmune and how to heal it. So I would highly recommend, sweetheart, that you send me an email and I'll send it to you for free. Okay, well, hopefully that answered your questions and maybe some others of people who are on today. Jan, good to see you. Susan, you wrote some questions before I started. Not sure where they are, but if you still have them, just put them in the comments here. Jan, wondering about gums. I've been getting infections on the upper left side for the past couple of weeks. Okay, so again, left side of the body is all about self. It is about our shoulds as they relate to self. All the things that we think we should be doing in order to satisfy the desires of those that we love or admire, or in some cases, society, or the pressures that we feel that are being placed on us to be other than we are. So that is a trigger for a whole host of issues on the left side of the body. And of course, we could expand upon that more. As it relates to gums themselves, I see that as a form of the mouth and the jaw. And generally, issues with jaw and mouth have to relate to a couple of different factors. The first one is the biting back of our words. So I think of our teeth is like the portcullis of a castle, right? So it keeps what's inside inside and what's outside outside. When we feel that we are not being heard or we can't speak our truth, we have a tendency to have it manifest, if it lasts for a long time, in the teeth and jaw and gums. So that is where initially I would go with you. And if you want to know more, then sign on first next Monday and we'll talk one on one, just you and I. And I'll talk more about that. Okay. We're getting to the end of the live, and I know I don't want to keep people late. Palmy, wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. There's a couple of really profound quotes in traditional Chinese medicine, which is a background of mine in regards to issues with the past relating to forgiveness. One is, show me a body wherein lies dis-ease, and I will show you a body wherein lies unforgiveness. Another one is, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die, or holding on to a hot coal that we wish to throw at them that only burns us. I have found that a tremendous amount of living in the past relates to an inability to forgive either ourselves or someone else. So, let's see. Janice, it's snowing in Montana today, feeling very anxious about being confined. Any advice? Yes. I recommend that you do some deep breathing, meditative um, visualizations about open spaces. Montana, I have been told, is incredibly beautiful, snow or not, and it is all about its wide open spaces. So play some music that reminds you of that. Put some pictures around when you're feeling anxious that look out into what you know the vision actually is when it's not snowing, and remind yourself that this too shall pass. It's just a temporary moment. So hopefully those will help. Milo, that is incredible. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Cassandra. Such valuable information. Appreciate me. Thank you. Yes, please email me thoughtpaintherapy@gmail.com. And anyone who emails me, I will freely send this to you. It took years to gather the information to write it. And so why not share it? It's out there for that reason. And I feel like I'm pronouncing your name wrong. So will you help me and tell me how that's pronounced? Okay, Danielle, go make dinner. I'm sure it will be delicious. Jan, you are welcome. I love you all so much. I will be here next Monday, 5:15, answering any questions you have. And until then, take care of yourself for me.